Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Luz, also known as Your Agent Luz, and this is Living in Richmond, Virginia. If you want to know everything about living in Richmond, Virginia, and this is your first time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you will be notified every single time a new video comes out about living in Richmond, Virginia. In this video, we are going to talk about the cost of living in Richmond, Virginia. Now, if you were moving to a new place, wouldn't you want to know how far your money will stretch? Well, I know that I would. So this is what this video is for. So to inform you about how far can your money go here in Richmond, Virginia. So Richmond, Virginia, we're going to talk a lot about, the national average in comparison to nationally. So of course, these are average numbers when we compare Richmond, Virginia to the national average. As far as affordability, Richmond, Virginia is definitely one of the more affordable cities in the United States, ranking about 10% more affordable than most cities in the United States. Especially, we're seeing a lot of movement here coming in this area, particularly from the north and the bigger cities, where people are, it's more expensive and more crowded. Here, even though Richmond, Virginia is considered a metro, is not as metro as or as crowded as some of the other cities, bigger cities that when you think metro obviously come to your mind. So that's the one good thing about Richmond. It's definitely more affordable to live here. Average salary in this area is about $64,000 a year. That's the average salary. If you're a family of four, again, just taking an average, family of four to live comfortably, and I mean super comfortably, here in Richmond, Virginia, you're looking at about $83,000 a year is really what you would need to live super comfortably here in this area, and and still be able to enjoy the very same things you were able to enjoy anywhere else, as far as like the culture and all those things that just life in itself provides. So you don't have to. Here, the one good thing about Richmond is that you're not kind of paying less for less and it being cheap. Like sometimes you pay something that's cheap and it's like, well, you pay for what you get, right? Well, you get what you paid for. Well, here you actually can get very quality life. You can have a quality life for less here and enjoy all the good things at Richmond, Virginia, and all the things that you normally would get in any other city here in this area for less. So you don't have to necessarily compromise too much on that when it comes to pricing. So median price about $290 when it comes to homes. Here, the good thing about Richmond is that we have seen a lot of inflation, of course, so there's a concern about home prices being high. However, here we do see an appreciation that goes up with the homes that is not as fast as maybe in some other areas, because as fast as it goes up, it goes down. Here we do see a steady appreciation of the homes, and as we see that the homes will appreciate and it will stay in that appreciation mode. And so that is a good thing. If you're thinking about buying here in this area, definitely keep that in mind, that when the home appreciates, we have a steady appreciation. If the home prices go down, we don't see a dip kind of in other areas where the home prices are like they flop down. We kind of see that nice and maybe a little bit, but not so much in regards to that. So that's a little bit about the home prices and affordability in Richmond, Virginia. Let's talk a little bit about food, right? One of the biggest bills that you're going to incur, especially as a family of four, is going to be your grocery bill. So on average, Richmond is very affordable when it comes to groceries, kind of about like that 10%. I even heard we're like in the 30% lower than the national average. But you will find that here we have a lot of grocery stores and we're talking about major big chain grocery stores. So maybe, due to the supply and demand, we have definitely a lot of supply, and we're definitely on the lower end when it comes. You're looking at a grocery bill, if you're like a single person, about $300 a month. For a family, $800 a month for a family, and that's not a lot, in comparison to national average, in comparison to other places. So you're definitely looking at being able to feed your family here in the Richmond, Virginia area, which is definitely a good thing. Energy cost in the Richmond, Virginia area are about 10% lower than the national average. So, we do have some areas, some communities here that have gone solar, and that, we'll see, a lot of like solar panels by the homes. And so, of course, like many other areas, Virginia is one of those states where they want to promote, energy saving. So as far as, energy is concerned, you're definitely going to pay a little bit on the lower end of that when it comes to the energy costs. So transportation wise, as far as like getting around, when it comes to transportation, we are looking about 17% lower than the national average. Now here in this area, we do have tolls, kind of like anywhere in the United States. We use Easy Pass. However, I am one person who likes to travel a lot, and particularly there was this one time where I traveled a lot to the north. I actually haven't done it in a little while. However, when I do travel to the north, I hate 95 traffic, and hate is a very strong word, and I strongly dislike it. And so, but I am willing to pay, so that almost $35 I used to pay just going up north to be able to get there a little bit faster and not be stuck in like 3 to 4 hours worth of traffic on 95 North. And of course, that all depends at the time that you're going up, at the time that you're driving. But unless you're going at 3 o'clock in the morning, which I have done before, you're going to encounter traffic, and then you're still going to encounter traffic at 5 o'clock in the morning up there. So in comparison to the tolls that I pay going up Richmond, Virginia, you're looking at 70 cents, 25 cents here, 70 cents. I believe that the tolls that the roads are already paid for, pretty much that we are just paying for the maintenance to keep them. So in comparison to what you're going to be paying for a toll, maybe in the DC area, or like I said, once going in, we don't have like a turnpike here, like in Pennsylvania or like in Florida, or in New Jersey. And however, so you're definitely going to pay much less when it comes to moving around. We still have Easy Passes, but you're going to definitely pay on the low end on that. When it comes to your now property taxes, here in Richmond, Virginia, you do have to pay property taxes on your car, on your boat, motorcycle, on your trailer. You do have to pay property taxes on those. However, in comparison to national average, you're still looking at that amount being a little bit lower. As far as gas is concerned, when it comes to transportation, we're kind of like, when it comes to the East Coast, I guess you can say, if we're comparing, Virginia to maybe other areas on the east side, we're definitely going to be less than if you go up to the DC area, and we're going to be less than in the Tidewater area. So if you're going from Tidewater to DC, Richmond is a good spot to stop for gas. In comparison, the gas prices are probably close, like I said, to some areas, as far as like, maybe Tidewater, but it's definitely a little bit cheaper if you're comparing Tidewater here and then going up north, but in comparison. So that's also a good thing. We here in Richmond, we don't have a great public transportation system, so that's another kind of expense. You do have to have a vehicle to drive around here. If you use GPS, I when I put my my address in the GPS, it gives me an option for transit. I don't know why mine automatically goes to transit, but it does. I always have to change it. And you can see that a 20-minute drive, or even like a 10-minute drive, if you were to take the transit system to get to the same location, it would be like an hour and a half. And that's not even exaggerating. Because our transportation system, when it comes to the public transportation system, is not the greatest. Of course, you're not, most people have vehicles, so they drive everywhere, so you don't necessarily have to pay too much for that. However, again, in comparison, national average, that amount kind of totals to that 17% lower than the national average when it comes to transportation. Again, real estate taxes, kind of going back to the little housing part, which I did forget to mention, the real estate taxes. Again, in comparison to national average, they're lower. However, here, it just depends on which county you live in, how your real estate taxes are going to look. Richmond City has a little bit higher real estate taxes that you're going to pay. So on average, if you're looking, like I said, $290,000 for a home, you're going to pay about $3,000 for taxes a year on that property. And again, that's kind of like taking the high and the low. When it comes to housing in general, that's including rentals, we're up a little bit on the higher end, 10 to 15% in comparison to national average. And again, that kind of like depends, and that's again taking the high and the low, because it really just depends where in the Richmond, Virginia area you're looking at. When we talk about the Richmond, Virginia area, if you don't know yet, we are not only talking about Richmond City, it's also the counties that surround Richmond, Virginia, such as Chesterfield, Glen Allen, even stretching to Powhatan, and in those areas, and obviously including Richmond City, and Chesterfield, North Chesterfield, Henrico. All of that is considered part of the Richmond, Virginia area.